Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Don't Trip Sis. I'm one of your co hosts, Ashley Berger from the Bay, and I always have something to say. And I'm here with my other sis. We share the same first name, different middle name. Ash, tell them know what's up.
Hey everyone, it's Ashley Dominique. I'm a handful, but I'm sweet, bringing a little bit of that bay flavor to the mix, of course. And we're here, ready to go. Let's get into it. I'm here with my sis.
Yes. I am so excited. All right, we have a lot to talk about today, y'all. We're going to get into it. And it's all about fun stories, real conversations, and the main thing, no stress allowed. So, our
That's
first,
allowed at all.
at all, at all, we're going to have a lot of laughs today. So, our first topic today is it's relating to dating. Okay, we're gonna get into dating today, all right? But
Yeah,
preferably about
what I
men.
call bad luck, but others call dating.
Right, right. But preferably how men, some men, now let's not generalize, but how some modern age men or just some men in general approach certain women. Okay, we're gonna get into that, how they, the what is it called, the game or the lines, whatever it is, all of that. All right, so
Right,
we
or
gonna get
now
into.
I think they call it the Riz. It's supposed to be short for charisma, which
Oh,
I
really?
don't think they understand what charisma means when they
Right.
saying, "Oh, he got Riz," the way he's pulling the ladies. I'm like, yeah, no, it's not the same.
And no, that's not what it is. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it. So, okay, sis. So let's get into it. One thing for me, I can say that irks every fiber in my being when it comes to approaching is when it comes to, okay, we get past the exchange of let me get your number. All right, cool. Then it comes to the text messaging. Okay. The whole, as we talked about before, the WIDs and the lack of conversation via text. How do you feel about that?
Right.
'Cause I know how I feel.
I can't stand an acronym unless it has something to do with something legit, like a shortcut on a website or something like that, or like I'm using it as like a AKA. But do not text me in acronyms. If I gotta sit up here and play the hangman with your text message to figure out what you were saying, I'm just not gonna respond to you on text, phone call, life, none of that. It just ain't
Mhm.
gonna happen. 'Cause
Right.
I feel like I reply in full content. My words are spelled out. And if you can't spell it, these beautiful phones now, you can speak, text,
Mhm.
talk. You can even have Google Translate if you need it.
Mhm.
But as a woman of my age and stature, I feel like certain kind of man I want, he's gonna have that kind of intellect about himself to put it all out there. I feel like that's just being lazy.
Mhm.
If you send me a
Mhm.
whole paragraph of acronyms, you will never ever in your life hear from me again. Ever, ever. And I might put that in acronym to you. However they put it, you would never see me in
Right.
life again in acronyms.
For real. I agree because we even got Grammarly now on our phones. Like there's a lot of ways to edit and properly respond to some people. And I know people have slang and I get it, but it's like again, I agree with you. A woman of our stature, my stature, it's like you need to come correct, especially since I am an educator. Okay, so it's like if you
Oh
know you're
yeah.
talking to a
Gotta
woman
put
who's a
red pen
teacher.
out for them when they send you
Right.
these
You
text
feel me? Yeah.
messages.
Like if you're talking to a woman who educates, who teaches all subjects to children, you might want to spell properly. And I know we make mistakes. I know, sometimes we text fast and things like I get that.
Right.
But it's like come correct, and I really don't like the random WID or the just random GM. Are you talking about General Motors? What are we doing? I don't know what a GM means.
Right.
Like what's going
Who
on?
who is are you saying grandma? What are you saying? Who you talking to? And it's not just lazy, but if
Mhm.
you're lazy in the way you talk, that for me, as the age I am, makes me feel like you're going to be lazy in a lot of other aspects in life. You're going to be lazy about handling your business because you can't even say a whole sentence. If you can't
Mhm.
even force yourself to physically mouth thank you
Mhm.
or move your fingers, just your two little thumbs to say thank you, you type two letters and send them to me with confidence. Yeah, I'm gonna need your confidence to come down a notch if you talking to me, because there's plenty of people who respond to that, but
Mhm.
I feel like you have to come correct to certain people. there's a generation that loves that. I'm just not part of that
Right.
generation.
Right.
In my generation, when we did text, there was very minimum acronyms being used, and they were
Mm.
only because we had a character count on our cell
Right.
phones at that time.
Right.
So we needed to do acronyms. Now it's limitless. So I feel like, hey, we don't have to do all of that. You could have
Mhm.
just called me if you was too lazy to spell the words out. Because it feels like there's no effort put into that. So I feel like,
Right.
okay, well, you don't really care. And
Mhm.
a lot of them be like, no, that's just how I talk. When I talk to you in
Mhm.
person, you don't be TY, LOL, GM,
Right.
GG, none of that.
Right.
And I'm tired of having to take my phone to somebody 14, 15 years old going talking about, excuse me,
Right.
can you translate this for
Right.
me? I'm
Yeah,
tired of doing
exactly.
that, okay? Cutting
Yeah.
down the youth to figure out
Mhm.
what somebody in their 30s is texting me.
Right, exactly. And especially if you in your late 30s, mid to late 30s, and if you're rolling into your 40s, brother, don't talk to me as if you just out of high school. Don't do that. You know what I mean? And because it's just frustrating. Again, it shows the lack of character. It shows the laziness. That shows you don't really care. I'm not saying you gotta text me a full paragraph, but at the same time, I want full sentences, and proper grammar, or just a decent amount of
Yeah.
grammar. You know what I mean? Because the acronyms all the time, like LOL is cool. I can do that because I do that. But the WIDs, I don't like it at all. What are you doing? First of all, don't ask me what I'm doing randomly. Like none of your business. I'm living my best life. But how about that? What are you doing? Clearly you're bothering me. You know what I mean? It's just something that I don't like. And I think another thing too, sis, that also irks me too is if some men, again, this is not all, if some men prefer to just text only and not have a phone
Oh,
conversation.
yeah.
Like you call them and they don't answer, but they text you real quick, like "What's up, boy? Bye." No, we not doing
As
just a
hard
whole
as I
text
try not
conversation.
to be part of my youth with them trust issues that I once upon a
Yeah.
time had, may still be battling. If you are a text message bandit, a keyboard killer, and I can't get you on the phone, I won't get you on the phone at all. I'm fine
Mhm.
with it. Because I look at it like anything else in life. If it means something to you, you going to have that time for it.
Mhm.
I've
Mhm.
seen plenty of people on the phone with the love of their life. The moment they ain't the love of them lives no more, the communication goes down. And if we're starting off like that, okay, so what communication look like when you mad at me? If you barely
Right.
talk to
Right.
me now, you talk to me through
Right.
text. I don't have
Mhm.
time for that because people go to text as a deterrent from talking because they know if
Mhm.
they just don't reply, they can say, I didn't see it. Versus you're
Mhm.
on the phone,
Mhm.
you got to engage in that conversation. And hey, I'm in my mid 30s. I'm gonna need that conversation. That communication is key. That's
Mhm.
validation in a lot of ways. Is picking up the phone when I call instead of it being the ninth call, and I
Mhm.
don't look like a psycho calling you because I
Right.
could have been dying, and
Right.
you was my emergency contact. I'm like,
Right.
it
Yeah. And
just
it's
shows
suspect
what
too.
you'll put into the relationship.
Yeah. And I think it's also suspect too because anytime a man is quick to just not respond via phone or FaceTime, but he's only willing to text, oh, I'm doing this. It's like, I don't, okay, my thing is, I don't have an issue with text messaging because I do it too. But I do it if I'm literally in a space where I can't talk. If I'm at work, I can't talk. If I'm driving, I try to do, a Siri voice text.
Right.
If I'm in certain situations, that's
If you
cool.
got too
But it's
much to
like,
say, I call.
yeah,
If the text message
exactly.
thread is starting to get too long, I'm gonna call because this could
Right.
be
It's a
discussed much
phone
quicker
conversation.
on the phone. I'm better with actual phone calls, even over
Mhm.
FaceTime. I
Same,
don't want to
same.
stare at you all the time. You'll be
Exactly.
looking at the bottom of my sheets. You'll be looking at the countertop. I would turn you over. We could have been on the
Right.
regular. I don't want you trying to see what I'm doing when I get quiet. I
And
need
then the
you
tone is different
to
too.
come down.
We can't tell, what people are saying via text. Text messages could come out all types of ways. I prefer
Yeah,
to get to know a man via phone conversation and also in person. But if you are only willing to
right.
text only, because I've talked to guys who literally like, nah, I don't do phone calls. I just text. Well, brother, we can't talk because it's suspect
Like,
to
well,
me of why you can't
nice
talk
meeting
to me on
you.
the phone.
Like
Yeah,
five
like what
best
you
friends.
doing? Right? Are you
Right.
are
Well,
working for the
you can have my
FBI? What's going
Instagram
on?
handle, and since
Right.
you don't communicate anyway, and I've had
Right.
that even in my age group, being a middle-aged woman, or in my mid 30s,
Mhm.
I've had guys come up to me and be, "Hey, you're beautiful." Like, okay, he's talking with a little bit of respect, and then he go, "Can I have your Instagram?" I'm like, that's
Right.
an odd thing to say because the generation I come from, we go for phone numbers. Okay,
Mhm.
like you're
Mhm.
asking for an address at my age, and then turn around and they would message me, DM
Yep.
me, something about what's your number. Okay, now we're not doing this. You
Mhm.
just saw me in
Right.
person. You
Right.
asked for my Instagram. Then you go DM and say, "What's your number?" How about
Mhm.
you get off whatever drugs they selling you and come correct? Because why would you ask me
Right.
for my number in the aftermath? That just seemed a little weird, a little slow. I don't know.
Mhm.
I'm not with
Yeah.
it. My
Yeah.
thing. Somebody out there's for you. It just ain't me.
Right. Exactly. 100%. And it's a very different way of how some men approach certain women, and it's just like the pickup lines are just comical, or sometimes you're just like, really, I don't got time. And it's just like,
Right.
I've heard all types of ridiculous pickup lines that are just played out, that are not creative, that are just literally leading to one thing. Like, you can kind of tell by the pickup line kind of where that man is coming from. I've had guys say some dumb stuff to me, and I'm like, in my mind, oh, so you only want that. That's exactly where you're coming from.
Right.
I'm good, sir. Keep it pushing. No
Right, because
thank.
I'm reading body language. If I'm
Yeah.
talking to you and you ain't even engaged with my face, you looking at, okay, how long this
Mhm.
conversation got to take until
Mhm.
I see more of her? Because the way you're looking at me, yeah,
Right.
this ain't gonna happen.
Mhm.
If you're approaching me and your eyes aren't even on my face, going, "Hey," trying to get your attention by locking eyes and
Mhm.
say, "I would like to speak to you." You trying to speak to my body? Yeah, this ain't gonna work. Because how you
Mhm.
know that's even up for grabs? How you know that's even a topic of
Right.
conversation? Why you
Right.
over here looking like that?
Right, exactly. And what makes you think I'm even attracted to you on that level? Like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? And on top of that too, I think another thing that's a major turn off when it comes to approaching or getting to know a guy is you can tell the guys who are only really interested in one thing, because when you start talking to them about what you do, or they don't even ask you about your career, they don't ask anything about your personality, just like who you live with. Do you stay with somebody? The basic, very bare minimum conversations, just to see if you that type of woman. It's like, brother, you really not about getting to know me and all the a brilliant type of person that I am. You're not getting to know who I
exactly.
am. You're only interested in the figure of me, the idea of me, the fantasy
Yeah,
of me.
you're interested in things about me that can change naturally, but
Hmm.
who I am,
Right.
my essence won't change.
Hmm.
Is not on your to-do list. And if that's not
Right.
on your to-do list, because what if I'm missing an eye one day? What if I'm missing an arm one day? Am I gonna be, now that my parents has changed you? Oh, now you're not interested. But if you're in love with the mind, in love with the spirit and the soul of the person, we're gonna change. I have a
Hmm.
2-year-old son. I definitely don't look like I did before I had my son.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
things about you
Right.
can change. There's a bunch of changeable features on human beings, but our essence doesn't change. And if you're not interested in that, that just lets me know that this relationship is not only temporary, but it's not worth it because
Hmm.
it's not worth my time. And I'm not going to share a piece of my soul with you like that, sir. It's
Right.
because it looks beautiful. Yes, I'm a unicorn. That's why. But you're not touching this
Right.
unicorn. Touch with your eyes and not with your hands.
Right. Exactly. And I think it also shows how some people, preferably some men, can be very simple minded in the bare minimum, because of some of the women who are also very simple minded. They don't
Yeah,
have much to
and these men
offer.
were raised by strong women
Yeah,
and somehow don't have that
some.
value.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't have that value.
And then they don't know how to approach a woman of our stature who has everything together, who is working and
Yeah.
wanting to be in our soft woman era. We don't want to be
How
doing all these,
to how to
you know
help
what I
your
mean?
woman be the
Yeah,
woman in the relationship
yeah.
and be the provider. They're like, "Hey, how can I, as a man," now some of them, because they might not look at themselves as they think they are men, but they never had to be in that role until they meet
Mhm.
a woman that needs that kind of man in their life.
Mhm.
And I've always been a nurturer, a helper. I've always
Mhm.
been a provider myself, but I'm a woman. So for me, I need a provider. So I don't have to be it. But I've always ended up in relationships where I've had to be the one taking care of them. As if not if they were my child, but like if they were my child And if I was their man, I've even said that a couple times to men I've dated. I'm your man.
Mhm.
You was
Mhm.
my
Mhm.
man. So
Right.
don't be coming at me like that when I'm taking care of
Right.
everything for you. Okay. And that was in my youth, but it was like that. I was coming across the wrong kind of people because of, I guess, I don't know, my personality just attracts people that need fixing. I'm a fixer, so I've attached to that. But that was a lot of my trauma growing up and a lot of my upbringing and things that I've experienced growing up and as an adult that made those decisions. I'm not gonna go without the ring. Gotta get paid. I'm a hustler. We gonna get it paid. We're gonna get these bills done. XYZ. We need food, groceries, whatever. It's gonna get handled. And when you have that mentality more than the male counterpart you're with, it's gonna go
Mhm.
south because
Mhm.
now I'm wearing your pants and handing you my skirt. So
Pretty much. Pretty much.
come
And
to
a
a
lot of men are
woman.
in that space.
A lot of
And
American men
uh,
definitely are in that space
there we go.
because
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
we are now in a culture of the 50-50 or the all or nothing. Either I'm giving my all or you're giving your all, or we're 50-50. There's no more balance of provider and nurturers in the home. I can't nurture the home if I have to go out and work 12 hours a day, but you want me to come home, cook, and clean, and make you feel good. Excuse you, scoot over. I'm just sitting down on the couch and you could go make a sandwich. How about that?
Right.
But
Right.
when you have that mentality, not just as a woman, but as a young woman coming up, it's going to take a real man, not even just a strong man, a real man who's secure in himself coming at you correct that allows you to ease into womanhood and be like, you know what, I can just be his lady. I don't have to pick up any slack so it doesn't look like I'm overbearing. I don't have
Mhm.
to put in a little extra to cover what's not there so I don't look like I'm nagging or like I'm trying to emasculate the male counterpart that I'm with because that's what it ends up being or what it's looked at. Like, oh, she's trying to be, she don't need a man, she is a man. Like, no, I just, if we're not succeeding somewhere, we're lacking somewhere, we have a weakness, as a strong woman, I'm going to go in there and handle that so that way we're not lacking in any aspect, but it can come off as in, you didn't even let me try, and you're just trying to be the man in the relationship. You don't act like a woman, but at the end of the day, in American society, a lot of women have to be so much of the provider in the home. It's almost kind of natural for us to say, that needs to be handled, I'll get it done. I can't wait for you to figure it out. Because my light's gonna get turned off waiting on you. I want to
Right.
watch TV. It's gonna get
Right.
cable gonna get turned off waiting on you.
And I
I want
think
to be able to
too,
take a shower. Water gonna get turned off waiting on you.
right. And I think too
Sometimes you can't
also,
wait.
I think also too is that a lot of women automatically put ourselves in leadership roles. And
Yeah,
we, because I had to learn this. I had to learn to not flaunt my degrees and all that, because I learned as I got older, as I left my 20s and got into my early 30s, and now I'm in my late 30s, that most men, if
yeah.
not all
Some
men,
people
don't care about
interact
that.
with, they're
Yeah, they
not
don't
there
care
in
about
their
that
life
at all. And so
or
what I
they're not where
had
they want
to,
to be in life.
I had,
You
yeah,
make
I
them.
had
They
to
feel sad even if
understand.
you're not intending to make them feel bad. They're like,
Yeah,
oh
I had to
man,
understand and learn the fact
great
that
for
it's
me.
like,
I'm not what you need.
that's not, it doesn't matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter. But at the same time, I want that man to show that leadership, because if he showed, because I know how to
right,
turn it off now. I know how to come from my boss chick, career woman, boom, 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 handle my business. I know how to turn it off and be that feminine, soft girl woman. But that guy needs to always be in leadership mode so he can be that protective
right.
provider for me. You know what I
Don't turn
mean?
off your leadership role and expect me to
Right.
always be here and just be this soft, cuddly woman because if things start slacking because you're always taking a break or taking a back seat to your responsibilities, don't be surprised if I say, hey, we can't afford not to. It's not me trying to step on your toes and I'm not trying to be overbearing or feel like, oh, I can't trust you. It has to get done either way it goes. And if this was part of what's on your plate, don't leave your plate sitting there and talk, I'm gonna come back to it later. No, eat what you got on your plate or don't put that much on there. If you can't handle what your eyes is bigger than your stomach. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people women do it too, but and I think that's more of an American society thing where people just don't have clear boundaries in relationships. I'm not going to call them roles or assignments. They don't have clear boundaries like, hey, I'm your woman. You are my man. Point blank.
Yeah, I think also too, sis, is that we as women are the ones that set the standard. We're the ones who have the
Mhm.
boundaries.
Yes.
Some women go into a relationship with nothing. They don't consider marriage. They move in with people. They do all these things and then they wonder why some things don't happen. It's like if you go into a relationship with the man and let them know, look, before you even get into a relationship, like how I am, I'm only dating for marriage. I'm not about to give you a kid. I'm all these things. I just let them know what it is. The a man is either going to be like, cool, I'm with it, or he can be like, nah, I'm not with it, and that's it. I think
Right.
if we don't go into a relationship or going to a friendship that may turn into a relationship with standards as women, because let's be real, we
Yeah.
actually have the power. We have see. This is
Yeah.
what I learned. I learned this not too long ago. We hold the power when it comes to inviting them into a more intimate space. If you get my drift, between our legs, we have
Yeah.
that power. We control that. The men have the power to put a ring on a finger. They are in control if they want to marry that woman or not. They have the power for that. We have
Right.
the power to even invite them on that space. So when we get solid
And
and
even the
realize
most
that,
unprepared man
yeah,
knows when he's ready.
yeah, of course, men know with the first few minutes of meeting a woman if she's about
He could see you and be
marriage
like,
material
"That's
or
it right
not.
there.
Yeah,
That's
men
the one."
know. I learned that from my dad. My dad's the one who told me, who's
Yeah.
been married to my mom for 54 years. He was like, a man can size up a woman in the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, meet a woman to know if she's the woman to bring home to mom, a woman to be friends with, or a woman to have fun with. Men know. And so when some men act like, oh, I don't know what I want to do with you, this and that, it's like, brother, you just, you're not ready. So don't waste my time. You're not
Yeah.
about that life. You know what I mean? And
Right.
I think also too, sis, because you mentioned American men, because I have talked to enough men, and this is no shade to nobody. We are not man shaming nobody, but I want that to be clear. We're not talking negative about men. We just talking from personal experiences,
We're not
but
bashing the fellows,
at all,
babe.
because I
This
love
is
the
just
fellas.
our opinion, our experience.
Exactly. Because I love the fellas. But what I have noticed, I have talked to enough guys overseas, in preferably the UK, and they move differently too. They move a lot
Yeah.
differently, and I don't mean a positive differently. They move kind of lazy too. Some of them, again, not all. I don't want to generalize the whole United Kingdom of men over there to be like, oh no, it's
Like,
not all.
we can't win nowhere. These two of the biggest what countries out
Right,
here. We can't win in the
exactly.
UK. We can't win in the US.
Right, right. It's not
Who we left
everybody.
with? Australia?
Right, exactly. But I've noticed some guys don't put in that effort. Like, case in point, I was overseas in London a couple of years ago and told a friend of mine, "Hey, I'm here. Let's link up or whatever." And I'm
Right.
in East London. He, I guess, lived in South London, and this Negro, I'm gonna keep it 100. This Negro was like, "Oh, well, I don't want to come all the way out there, so you can meet me." Excuse me? I flew 10 hours to get to this city, not to just see you, but just to hang out. And you telling me I need to go and catch an Uber, to catch a train or whatever to come to South London because you don't want, boy, bye. I was
I
like,
didn't flew to
it
the
was
continent.
crazy. Yeah. I was like, these American dudes will be like, all right,
He
I'll pull
lucky
up.
was I had he was like the the
Girl.
seats, the education. I'm gonna hit them. I'm catching charges. I'm
For
trying not to be
real.
violent. God working on me. He's
Yes. Yes. He's working on all of us, girl.
working on my heart.
Right, right. But that was mind blowing. I was like, how are you gonna tell a woman who is coming from the US of A, okay, flew 10 hours, been in London for a couple days, and you reach out and then you're like, well, I don't want to come to East London, pull up in South London. No, my brother, I'm not doing that. You can make the effort. If I did a 10-hour flight, you can make the
Pull
effort
up.
to come see me.
Next time we're
Right,
gonna
pull
fly
up.
half. I fly 5 hours. You fly 5 hours. How about that?
Period.
We're
Have
not
you lost
doing
your
that.
mind?
Yeah.
Right. Exactly. So it's different. And again, this is not all UK men. I mean, he was Ghanaian. No shade. It's not all Ghanaian men. I mean, I've talked to a nice variety of men. Okay. And it's no man shaming and none of that because I love my men. They're amazing. But some guys have the wrong initiative. They have the wrong intention or they're lazy. But we all know, sis, we all know, and I want everybody to hear me clearly, when it comes to men, men do what they want. And on top of that, when they want a woman, they going to go from here to the Himalayas to let that woman know.
Yeah.
They don't care. But when they don't want, they'll do the bare
And look,
minimum.
he'll be like, "I was in the neighborhood." "No, you wasn't." "I noticed you
Right.
were out here."
No, you weren't.
"Oh, I
Right.
ain't meeting you here." Like,
Exactly.
"Oh, okay."
Exactly.
They
Because
know. They'll
again,
go
right,
beyond, above and beyond,
above and beyond.
and
Long
do
distance
the
too.
work.
Long
It won't
distance
be
too.
work for them. It will be a pleasure to
Exactly.
do so.
Exactly. So that's why I've learned this as I've matured and gone through relationships and realized this man wasn't, good. And it's not all the man's fault. There's some things that I did, of course, you learn from and make mistakes and you heal. So I don't want to say all the men I dated, they did this. No, I had to I made mistakes, I learned and I grew and things like that. But
Yeah,
what I've learned in my journey is that when a man really wants a woman, he don't care if she lives 5 hours, 5 minutes, or a whole 2, 3, 4 countries away. He gonna put in that effort. He gonna make it happen. I've seen it. I've seen it. I've seen
it's
men
gonna
put
show.
the effort.
You
Yeah,
gonna
because
know.
if men can go to the gym and put that mindset, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna get my hair cut,
Right.
I'm gonna do what do it. You want to do that. You're putting in the effort. Then, man, you could put in that effort for me. So that's why, as I've gotten older, I'm like, look, I'm giving you the energy you give me. If you give me crumbs, I'm gonna give you half a crumb. Period. I'm not.
Right.
I'm not giving you my energy when I know the woman that I am and all that I have to offer, honey. There's going to be a man that's going to be crawling and just willing to do whatever he needs to vie for my
Right. There's
attention. I
gonna be a
see.
man that I don't have to pull teeth with. I don't have
It.
to say, "Hey, you haven't hugged me in 3 days." I'm not gonna have to constantly say, "There's some lacking on your part. You need to validate me. You don't conversate with me enough. There's not enough communication." I won't have to point out issues because my
Mm-hmm.
man will know that wasn't right. And my
Right.
woman will feel like that when this happens, when that type of stuff goes down, it makes her feel like this. And no, my woman ain't gonna feel like that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He gonna get it straight before I should even have to open my mouth. He already fixing it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. And then there's a lot of men who put in that effort. So I don't want to keep, I don't want to make it
Yeah.
seem like there's all men, but there's a lot of men who actually
And
know
for
how
the
to treat a woman.
listeners, it
Yeah,
does
they know how
not
to
matter
approach a woman.
about age. You could be 50 finding love. So it does
Right.
not matter the age. You don't
No.
have to be like, oh, I'm on some type of clock biologically. None of that.
Right. Because
I
there's
just
a
had my first child,
right.
granted, not
Right.
with his
And
dad. That's
and
okay.
see, I don't
But
have kids yet. Yeah, I don't have
yeah.
kids yet. I'm working on, well, not really working
And
on
I'm
it, but
starting to feel like I gave birth to my man, so
I cannot with you,
I
sis.
think he's a ripple in my life.
I
I think I
cannot.
had gave birth to him so I could be in a relationship because
I
that little sexy
cannot.
creature be just loving on me. So
Right. Right. But but
he knows his mommy, and that's
right.
how the my soulmate gonna know his woman, and it's just going they're gonna feel that it's gonna be some type of bond that you can't explain where they know you better than you know yourself, and they're gonna already be putting steps in place for things to just be better for the both of you. They're gonna, if you're feeling sad, they're gonna feel that, and they're gonna know what to do to make you feel better without you having to open your mouth. You don't even have to give them a look, and they already know. And then there's
Yeah,
gonna be
because they're
times when you give them a look, like, I know exactly what you need. I got you, and it's gonna be something inseparable.
yeah,
And
it's the in sync, being in sync with your woman,
yes,
you
yes, it's
know?
gonna be so beautiful. And trial and error. I mean, I don't know how many trials and errors I gotta do, how many more I got left before I get to get to the point here. Come on, God. I'm like, where my man at? But
Mhm. Right. But you know what? Even with that too, what I've also learned, I learned so much as and like I said, I'm in my late 30s. But what I've learned so much is that it's not how long you wait for. I'm gonna take it on a spiritual level because that's how I am at times. But like, it's not how long God allows you to wait, but it's how you wait. And when we're waiting
mm,
for that
mhm,
spouse, or a job or a house, whatever it is that we
right,
want, it's what we're doing. What are we doing to progress and to be prepared for it? Because God already knows what we want. He knows us. He created us, so He knows
yeah,
what our heart's desires. But sometimes we have to wait a little bit because he's getting us ready, or he's moving behind the scenes and he's making things available for us. He has to move pieces
Yes.
around like chess, you know what I mean? So like for me, what I've learned is just like, yeah, I don't have a husband yet. I'm not worried about it. I'm traveling, I'm living my best life, I'm doing what I need to do. And until God allows that to be present, then I'm gonna just keep growing and healing and preparing to be a wife and preparing for my
Right.
house and all these things. And I think we as a society, men and women, have to learn to just
Yeah.
be patient and also do the things we need to do to be ready, because we can ask for things and God delivers it to us and we like, oh snap, I really wasn't
Like,
ready for that.
ooh, I didn't know it came with all that. I asked for this half of it.
Right.
You gave me all
Exactly.
this.
Right.
Yeah, I
Exactly.
took that mind state when I thought about having. I've always wanted to have a kid.
Mhm.
And after having my son and his dad, which I don't mind, I'm an open book.
Mhm.
His dad is only child. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna have more than one of these. I don't think God intended people to be only children. They
Right.
something different. No shade to the only children out there. Y'all
Right.
different though, but no shade to y'all at all. Y'all nice little unique bunch. All by yourself. I don't know. That group is different.
They
It
are.
might just be
Mhm.
the one I know. But y'all definitely different.
Right.
I
Right.
know
Right.
more than one, but the one I got a
Mhm.
kid with is definitely made me feel like y'all parents was not right for that. That's like all.
Right.
And
Right.
I prepared myself with that mentality of when I have a kid, be ready. Don't just pop them out because you can reproduce. And a lot of people can do that, but not everybody can actually be parent. That's not just a
Mhm.
mother or a father or not even just a guardian. Stepping up into a role of being a parent, whether you're a step parent or a family member who took in someone's kid or you adopted the kid or whatever the case is. A lot of people can reproduce, make humans all day,
Mhm.
but not everyone can actually wake up at day in and day out and take
Mhm.
that role. It is by far the hardest, most joyful, easiest job I ever had. As much as that don't make sense, it makes sense because it's a hard job that you get so much love and joy out of it that it seems easy to you because you're like,
Mhm.
wow, what was I doing before you? I don't even remember my life before you.
Right.
Like, what was I just walking around with my eyes closed? It feels like before I became your mom. Like, oh wow,
Right.
this is a
Right.
beautiful experience. It's a like literally seeing your heart if it was to take a human form, and that would be what your child is. Walking,
Mhm.
living around, even beating on you, the money, your food, your time, and your energy, but you love
Mhm.
it. Oh,
Right.
it's the only abusive relationship that is allowed, I feel like.
Mhm. Right. Right.
But they appreciate you in ways that you can't even explain. I took that mindset when I decided to have. Also, I did think his dad and I had a different future than where we're at. I am
Mhm.
happy with where we're at now, where we're not together. But I did think, okay, we're probably married, have kids, blah, blah, blah. That was me trying to break generational curses of being in a family that didn't really merit in my upbringing or anything around. They give me no resources on like when you get with somebody, it should be for marriage. It should, putting anything, it didn't build no foundation behind
Mhm.
relationship in
Right.
my family. A lot of people just ended up with somebody, had
Mhm.
kids with somebody,
Mhm.
broke up with somebody, dated
Mhm.
somebody. It's a bunch of somebody's doing
Right.
some stuff with somebody's.
Right.
So
Right.
it's like people just walking around doing random stuff in my family. Nobody's structured. And I
Right.
looked at that. I'm so blessed by God that He gave me a different mindset to look at things different and not just keep following the same path. Granted,
Right.
I a child with somebody I'm not married to. We
Mhm.
were together for 15 years before we had our son.
Mhm.
So I got to know him very well.
Mhm.
Got my beautiful handsome unicorn out of it
Right.
and moved on.
Right. 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 Right.
And
Yeah.
I'm at peace with that. And
Right.
I know that whoever I get with is going to be someone that's going to be at peace with having a child that's not biologically theirs. Eventually, having their own
Mhm.
biological child is going to be just as special. My son's not going to be treated as someone else's child. It's going to be feel
Mhm.
like their own. And I would do
Right.
the same if I met a gentleman who had children. I know I
Mhm.
have the capability to love their child as if it was my own, and I think being a mom first definitely helps because it
Right.
allows me to have patience
Right.
and compassion for that situation, and that patience because you're not just dealing with that, you're dealing with the mother, you're dealing with that other family, the dynamic that was there before you. So it
Right.
definitely comes with growth. 'Cause in my 20s,
Mhm.
I'd have been like, "Oh, you got kids?" Yeah, my face. But
Right.
now I'm
Right.
like, I get it. I'm in my 30s,
See,
it was different.
right.
In my
Uh,
20s, I'm gonna find me somebody just as kid free as I am. So
right. And I think, see, for me, since I don't have kids and I definitely want kids, I've dated guys with kids. I've tried it for most of my 20s and parts of my 30s. I'm gonna be real with you, sis. I'm over it. I don't want a man with kids right now. I
you
don't.
see,
I
everybody I dated avoided people with kids because I was like,
right.
I don't want to be around kids until I have my own.
Right. Right. And the thing is I love kids because I teach kids. I'm a teacher. So my day job is a teacher. So I'm
Oh yeah, you
around
got about
children.
10
And
babies.
yeah, so I love that. But the thing is, for me, is that I've dated enough guys with children, and that's beautiful. I still have connection with some of my ex's kids and whatnot. But the thing is, for me, I want to experience being with a man that has never been a father, just like I've never been a mother, and then we can go through
Right.
all new things together. You know what I mean? Because
Oh,
it's a
girl,
beautiful
that was
thing,
my plan. I don't know what happened. I woke
right?
up a mom. Pretty sure I fell asleep and woke up and became a mom. I don't know if I was an active participant.
It is.
Pretty
You
sure I woke up.
surprised me. I do remember.
Smart.
I remember when you told me you were pregnant. I said, "Wait a minute." I was like, "Wait." I was like, "This
And it was so hilarious
girl."
because you and they were like, "You better not show up pregnant. You've been working out.
Right.
Something's going to happen."
Right. It
I was
literally
praying
that
on my uterus ball. We
is because it threw me all the way
were
out.
just at somebody's wedding, enjoying our lives,
We really were. We
meeting
were at
random people.
literally at our friend's wedding and had a great time. And it
Yes,
was like not too much longer. Like I remember Isaiah saying that, and we were just like all joking around. And then you was like, "I'm pregnant." I said, "Wait a second." Was like, "Sis, wait."
pretty
And I think
sure.
I
I
had already
say.
moved. I think I already had moved. I think I had moved
Yes,
out
yes.
here to LA.
You had just
Yeah,
recently moved too. So you moved
yeah.
within like the same exact time frame of me finding out. I
I was like,
was
girl,
wrapping my medical assistant program and I was in school and a bunch of the kids in there that was with me because I was one of the oldest ones in there and they were
mhm.
like, let's take random pregnancy tests. Why that's a thing that like young test God like that? I don't know. And I went along with these little heifers and did it.
I
And I was like,
can't.
I was ready to mix my tests up in the pile and let one of them panic, but it made them feel like their lives is gone.
Right.
But I was
I remember
the most
that.
stable out of the group because I already was living on my own, had 2 jobs, and I'll talk
Mhm.
about it, hold it down, working 2 full-time jobs, going
Right.
to school full time, and being in a relationship and maintaining a household, all while pregnant.
Mhm.
Finished it up and turned around. I was like, oh my God, what
Right.
happened?
Right.
I felt like I was on the up, and it don't really feel like it was a down point.
Right. Right.
It's just really was a turning point. Like, okay, I thought I was going this direction. Now I'm going this direction,
Right.
and it's a wonderful thing for
Right.
sure. And
Right.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. I'm glad I waited when I did because that
Right.
patience taught me a lot. I
Mhm.
grew up a
Mhm.
lot before I became a
Mhm.
mom, and that's what I needed because my
Right.
child is not lacking anything from me emotionally because I took time to mature. And
Mhm.
that has a lot to do with patience. Really
Mhm.
have to take your time with yourself.
Exactly. That is a
You can't
key
do that.
point that
Yeah,
you
do
said,
that.
sis.
People know how
It's
to
the key.
approach you because they see it.
Exactly.
This person
Because you
cares
have
about
to
me.
heal.
I got
You have to
correct.
heal. Yeah, you have to. I think a lot of people don't do self work when they in a relationship or they're going through things. They just get over and move on. And a lot of part of
People
being
can
prepared
see
to be a mom,
a broken soul and be like,
yeah,
okay,
exactly. And a lot
you
of
know
things
how
of
to treat
preparing to
this
be a
one,
mom
and that's how they're able
and
to.
to be a
That's how
wife.
I believe narcissists
Yeah,
came about
you
because
have
they
to
were able
heal.
to see broken
Yeah,
souls
you
out there
have
and
to
know how
heal
to take. And
because you
because
have to
I've had
heal.
my fair share of narcissisms around me, a bunch
Yeah,
of
me
them.
too. I've dated some
But
too, and it's annoying.
it's
So,
all
like,
culture.
Yeah, the thing is, the key thing is you have to do self healing before you get
Yeah.
into a relationship, because or even a friendship, but mainly a relationship, because too
Yeah.
many people, and I have said this and I'm gonna say this again because I've said this on other platforms, but like you have to work on yourself before you enter any relationship. Do not come into a relationship with a whole bunch of baggage packed, overflowing bags. You can't do that. No one should do that.
Right.
I should do that. And
Don't
too
come
many
in there
people do
looking like
that.
a hoarder and
Yeah,
needing help. Then you want them to help you unpack, but they can't
exactly.
touch it.
Right,
You won't
because
let
the
them
thing
touch
is you're
it.
not healing. You're not working, and
Yeah.
it's like it's refreshing when you can go into a fresh relationship with unpacked bags. And the only bags that I want to have is bags that I'm going on out of the country, because y'all know I travel a lot.
Mhm.
For those who don't know, I travel across the world quite often. So those are only bags I want to bring into a relationship. Bags to go to,
Yeah.
anywhere out the country. But to
I was
be in a
traveling.
relationship,
Now my travel bag is a
right.
diaper bag, but
Right. But that's what people
but
have to
I
do.
love
They have to
it.
do serious self-reflection, men and women. They can't not be so quick to lay with somebody. They have to be willing to
Right.
self-heal, go deal with the trauma,
Do the
pray
work.
about it,
Don't just
do what
wait.
they need to do. If they're spiritual, do whatever you need to do so you don't bring unnecessary drama to a person who maybe
Right.
is
Because that
healed.
stuff follows you. You might
You
leave
know
the
what I'm saying?
state, but that spirit is following you.
It is. It is. It really is. It really is. And women and men who have discernment, who can see with their spiritual eyes, like me, I'm the type of woman that I can see a man for who he is real quick. I can start seeing sensing you out, and then after that, it's like, nah, I don't need to waste my energy with you because your spirit isn't clean. You got something that you're trying to mask who you are, and I see past that. So
Right.
that's because I'm working on myself spiritually. And when people work on
Yeah.
themselves spiritually, however they decide to do it, you can easily see the person and see the red flags. And you know what? Don't ignore the red flags. You see the red flags, and I'm
Yeah.
cool. I'm
Come
good.
get
You feel
closer.
me? Yeah.
But why
And
is
too
it
many
showing up a red flag? It doesn't matter.
right, exactly. And too many people,
Green
men
means
and
go,
women,
red means
ignore the
stop for a
flags.
reason.
Yeah,
Uh,
they ignore the red
that's
flags.
universal.
Right. Yeah, they ignore the red flags and then they get in a situation and it's like, oh man. So self-healing is important. And being single, I want to make this really clear. Being single is a beautiful thing. It doesn't mean you're lonely. It
It's not
doesn't
a
mean you're
bad thing.
unhappy. Right. It doesn't
It
mean you
doesn't
have
mean you're
nothing
less
going for
than
yourself.
because you're
Right.
not in a relationship. Because there's a
Exactly.
lot of
It's a lot of
miserable
people
people in
who are in a
relationships.
relationship. Exactly.
Yeah.
So being single is a beautiful thing when you are working on yourself.
Yes.
When you're working on, I
Now,
can't
see, for
say this
myself,
enough,
I've
y'all.
never been married, but
Yeah.
there's a lot of single people in relationships, single mothers. There's
Yeah.
people who are not just single mothers, but they're single in general because your other half are single men, single fathers. Your
Mm-hmm.
other half stopped participating a long time ago, stopped putting into this relationship a long time ago. You're in this relationship by yourself. You
Right.
might have a piece of
Right.
paper bonding you all together, but that's literally
Mm-hmm.
about it. At this, all the vows have been thrown out the window.
Mm-hmm.
So you can be single in more than one type of way. And for me, it took a lot of self growing on my own because it wasn't the examples around me that was set.
Mm-hmm.
I had to learn. I learned examples around me in a different mindset. A lot of the people around me, not just family, but friends and older family members, friends and cousins, or that of that nature. The decisions they were making
Mm-hmm.
were very unhealthy
Mm-hmm.
decisions as far as relationships go.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that as I'm just gonna do anything different than them, and that's gonna be the opposite
Right.
and break that pain because if I do the same thing as them, I'm gonna be the same place they are. They're never happy. They don't never
Mm-hmm.
sound happy. They're in a
Mm-hmm.
relationship where nobody's happy. Everybody's cheating on each other,
Yeah.
and you still mad at each other. But you're both
Right.
stepping out, and you know you're both stepping out. But instead
Right.
of leaving, sit here and be in a world of hurt when you're really not that hurt. You just around somebody on a regular basis who you're still claiming as your person, as your
Mm-hmm.
soulmate,
Mm-hmm.
and it's saying, "Oh,
Right.
no, they're cheating on me." It's like at the end, does that really even hurt? You've been cheating for 30 years. You've been
Right.
cheating for 30 years. Does it
Right.
still hurt? It might hurt like
Yeah.
your pride or something, but somewhere in there, you gotta realize it ain't even hurt no more. It's just stupidity. not
Right.
happy, and it's misery. That's what
And
it is.
and again, I can't stress this enough. It's about self healing at any age, whether
Yeah.
you're in your 20s,
When
your
you
30s, 40s, 50s. It
love
doesn't
it
matter.
for
You
yourself
have to
hard enough.
heal. You have to work on
Yes.
yourself. You can't be in a relationship with coming in with brokenness, trust issues, all these unhealthy things that you
Right.
haven't worked on, and expect that man, that woman to be cool with it when they got their own stuff. It's not fair to that person. So,
And understand
you
that when
know,
you get in a relationship, if you
yeah.
have that kind of baggage, if the
Hmm.
person doesn't come from the similar in or know anything about it, you
Yep.
can't be mad if they don't understand
That's
the
right.
severity of
Mhm.
your pain or what you're going through emotionally, because they might not know how to even approach it. They might not know what to say because they won't want to be another trigger or set off one of
Mhm.
your triggers.
Mhm.
Say the wrong thing, and now
Right.
you feel
It's
like
too much for them, and it's too much
yeah,
for
it's
them.
too much. They're overwhelmed. You don't want to
Mhm.
overwhelm them with it, but it can't even be there for you. And
Right.
then you got to realize some people come from different walks of life. My son's father, way different upbringing than I did. When I met this man, he had the master bedroom in their house, his parents' house, and he had a maid. I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm
Mhm.
like, sir, there were so many kids in the house, everybody had a chore. What you mean
Mhm.
you got a maid? I'm like, somebody washing your
Right.
clothes for you at you're 18? Okay, this is different. And
Right.
he can understand my trauma because it was too traumatic for him. And the things he was bothered by were too simple to me. I'm like, you're upset because of that? Boy, life is harder than that. That's how I looked at it because of where I came from. I had to realize his pain is just as great to him as my pain is to me. I had to respect that. It took some learning to understand that just because he hasn't gone through what I've gone through doesn't mean that he doesn't have the same amount of mine just might be really tragic. But for him and growing up in his lifestyle, that is tragedy.
Right.
Unfortunately. I had
Mhm.
at least a gold plated spoon. If it
Right.
wasn't fully
Right.
fully
Right.
gold or a silver
Yeah.
plated spoon, at least in his mouth, he grew up very different. Only child, and his mom worked. She hustled, to make sure he had everything under the sun. And his upbringing was just different. I grew up.
Mhm.
I thought the poor people was rich. That's how poor we was.
Mhm.
So
Right.
so the values of things and the things you go through, I'm like, maybe a lot of that made me become a really strong over it could be overbearing at times. I now admit
Mhm.
that made me a very strong, resilient person, not just a woman. The way I approach life, people, and just things in general, I
Right.
get in because I've come from such a tough upbringing that I had to be tough. If my exterior wasn't tough, my interior was going to get torn down. And
Mhm.
so to understand that, so for me, dating wise, I need someone that can handle someone who's had to come through the trenches, and I'll come with a bunch of scars now. I don't have many wounds anymore, but I definitely got
Mhm.
plenty of scars.
Right.
Someone that can appreciate those scars
Right.
now is what I'm basically saying.
Right.
Has the patience
Yeah.
to
And it and
understand these scars are
right.
still healing.
And I think that's important because when we have that time to reflect on how we are individually in past relationships and in general, we can work on ourselves and know where we were great at, where we were not so great at, our strengths and weaknesses. And then like we can fix that because the hardest thing, and we're gonna wrap up soon, y'all. The hardest thing that any human being can do is self-reflect. Take that inner mirror and pull out the weeds that don't work and water and nurture and plant what is positive about themselves. And I think I want to say this because I don't want people to think if you self reflect, you're self reflecting on negativity. Self reflection is also positivity about who you are, the greatness and the courage and the strength that that person embodies. So I don't want people out here to think that if you do self reflection, you're going to find all negativity. No, there's a lot of positive things about each and every one of us that we want to continue to water and grow
Yeah,
that
it's
can
a way
help us in
of
everything.
letting
But we have
releasing
to
and letting
get
go
rid of
for
the
one.
negative. We have to heal. We have to remove and not hold on to things that have been holding us back for 10, 15
Yeah,
years.
and
Let it go.
more to forgive ourselves.
Mhm.
If you can't get an I'm sorry from the world, tell yourself I'm sorry.
Mhm. Mhm.
Mean
Mhm.
it. Look yourself in the mirror and be like, I'm sorry. The little girl, little boy, whatever
Mhm.
version of you that is still going through something, apologize that. Even if it's your current self, just I'm sorry. Mean it. Love yourself. Give yourself
That's
a
right.
hug. Give yourself a pat on the back
That's
and be
right.
like, I am proud of you. We are still here. We
Mhm.
are getting
Mhm.
much better. We've come so far.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that means something. If you can't get it from the source of the problem, you were in there when it
Mhm.
happened. You can't
Mhm.
apologize to yourself. You might not have been the only person involved, but you may be the only person involved. You can't
Right.
apologize to yourself as a step
Mhm.
towards that healing. Is a lot of it is loving yourself. The majority of it is
Mhm.
going to be loving yourself through your
Mhm.
own pain. Someone else doesn't have to
Right.
do it. And once you're able to
Right.
do that, someone can truly love on you because your real self will be there to receive it.
Exactly. And on top of that, it's also just knowing you are enough. I had to learn that I was enough.
Yeah.
I didn't know that for so many years, but I had to learn that I was enough. And so now I love on myself every day because you got to remember you're worth it. I'm worth it. Everybody is worth it, but they have to see it for themselves. And self healing is a beautiful thing. And I just want to wrap up with everyone knowing that if you want to be in a relationship, go for it. But heal yourself first before you can be in a relationship with somebody else, and have
That's
and for
very
the
important.
fellas, have the right approach when you're talking to educated women who are about something.
Yes, come correct.
Okay.
Please have you
Please.
know, come with
Please.
respect, and you're gonna get nothing but respect back out of that woman. And you want
Exactly.
relationship to have respect in it from the very beginning. It's very
Yeah.
critical in
Hmm.
longevity for that relationship. Even if you just end
Hmm.
up being friends, for the sake of the
Right.
friendship, that respect is key to keeping a lot of the drama out of the relationship.
Hmm. Right, absolutely. So I think we're going to end it here. And I just want to say that I'm so happy we had this conversation, sis, because this is a beautiful thing to discuss. And I want everyone again who's listening to us to know you are worthy, and just work on yourself. And again, have the right approach
Yes.
when you're talking, when
You
you're
love
approaching
you.
us women.
If no one else
Please
does, love yourself.
love
Some
yourself.
women out there can definitely love on you.
Yes.
Just love yourself first, and then
Yes.
there's endless possibilities after that.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we're gonna wrap it up. Until next time, y'all. You have been listening to Don't Trip Sis with one of your co-hosts, Ashley Berger.
And your co-host, Ashley Dominique.
Yes, and we will see y'all next time. Thanks for listening.
Until next time.
Well, that wraps up another episode of Don't Trip Sis. Thank you so much for listening. And remember, there is power in our mind, unity, and culture. If we understand that power, we will be limitless. Stay blessed, y'all.